Hello and welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be looking at one of the most recently released DC TV shows, that is of course Stargirl. Stargirl follows Courtney Whitmore and her friends as they fight the Injustice Society of America in the small town of Blue Valley. Last episode we covered the 4th episode, Wildcat, so put on your star-spangled attire and make sure you go and watch the 5th episode, as this list contains major spoilers from Stargirl episode 5. Without further ado, I'm Jager of JL Oz, and this is 5 Easter eggs from Stargirl, Owlman and Dr. Midnight that you may have missed. Now to begin, we have yet another advancement for the character of the Fiddler in this universe. For a recap, we found out that Isaac Bowen is a student at Blue Valley High, who is the comics book's Fiddler's name. His mother is a member of the ISA and plays the violin for Brainwave in the last episode. And now Pat confirmed this episode that the original Fiddler was a man.
I think Principal Bowen is the Fiddler.
Yeah. First off, the Fiddler was a man. Second, he was Irish.
Which leads me to believe that Principal Bowen is continuing the legacy of her partner, which gives even more weight to her legacy quote in the, I think it was the 3rd or 2nd episode.
But passing our ways on to the next generation for them to then improve upon in their own way. That's what life's about. Legacy. My boy here is quite the musician himself. He'll be better than I ever was, a real savant.
And that the kid, Isaac Bowen, is in fact an Isaac Bowen Jr. Ooh, that's very deep, isn't it? Now when Beth, the new Dr. Midnight, discovers the old Dr. Midnight's goggles, she is hurled with a lot of info, including the reference to a hero who lost his life called the Red Bee. Now the Red Bee is a Golden Age hero who fought the Nazis. As you'd know by now, I love these Easter eggs, and I'm glad that they're still keeping these great references going. On the topic of these types of Easter eggs, we have an awesome nod to the debut of 2 key characters in the Stargirl series. In the beginning of the episode, we see Rex Tyler preparing a package to send to Pat. If we look closely, we see that the address marked is 1941 Seagull Way. This was the year that Stripesy and the Star-Spangled Kid were born, and Seagull Way was a nod to the man who wrote their first appearance. These Easter eggs are great, and I'm so excited to see more of them in the future. Now, if there's one thing that this show has got going for it, it's its creativity. And this is shown perfectly in the Blue Valley Theatre. In this theatre, we have a number of seemingly inconspicuous film posters, but how wrong we are. Each is an intricate reference to a corner of the DC universe. One of which is the Rita Farr story. This is a reference to Rita Farr, an actress within the DC universe, whose career ended when an accident turned her into a Lester woman. A Lester woman is, of course, a key member of the Doom Patrol. Another poster is for a movie called A Killer Calls. This movie is starring Carver Coleman. Now, A Killer Calls, and the rest of Carver's cinematic career, was spotlighted in Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's classic story, Doomsday Clock, where we learned that Coleman played famed DC Universe detective Nathaniel Dusk. Now, shortly before Rick wrecks his uncle's car, a poster for a Sergeant Rock movie can be briefly seen in the background, who is of course a fan favourite World War II DC soldier for the Yanks. Now, if you're not sure about watching Stargirl and you need some reasons, this episode will be the first one I pick. This episode was absolutely awesome. And a large part of this was the incredibly heartbreaking origin for the new Owlman, Rick Tyler. Now, I'll go over this origin story as it's just great. In the beginning of the episode, we see the old Owlman, Rex Tyler, creating the package that was mentioned earlier in the episode for Pat Dugan. We then fast forward to Rex and his wife leaving a little Rick, who's their son, all by himself, as something they're just scared, they're frightened, and they need to go. His wife's giving final goodbyes. Everyone's a bit confused. The wife's brother arrives, who's of course Rick's uncle, who is, again, unbeknownst to the situation, has a go at Rex for, like, what have you gotten my sister into this time? Before they go, Rex tells his son about his car, his yellow car, how he loves it, how it's the best part of his life, before he met his mother and then before he had you. And then they leave. And they're in the car, and this scene was just, the tension in it was massive. I keep thinking, I'm like, come on, go Rex, you can do it. But I knew, I guess there was that thought in the back of the head, and it just kept going, he's not in the show already for a reason. He's not with Pat for a reason. Which means he's gone. Which means he dies somehow. And as they go through that forest, there was one person, I should say, that popped into my head. Solomon Grundy. And sure enough, out of nowhere, we see Grundy leap from the bushes and smack the car, which turns the car into a tree, unfortunately killing both Rex and Rick's mother, which is very sad. And, of course, we've known in these, in later, previous episodes that the ISA has a good way of covering up their dealings. The reason Brainwave, was in his lab coat when he was found by the hospital, and all of these things, and it was framed that these two people died in a car crash. They even changed the tyres and everything. Now we flash forward again to an older Rick, who's, of course, Rick we see in the earlier episodes, a quiet little kid, not little, but just a quiet kid. And we find out that his uncle, who was unbeknownst, is very abusive and threatens to hit him and smack him. Now, when Courtney discovers Rick and tries to give him and explain that his dad was a superhero, he's not keen in joining the JSA, which is quite a problem as he runs off with the hourglass, which of course we covered, gives the user superpower, super strength for an hour a day. Now he goes on his little spree, destroys his uncle's truck, and of course the new JSA has to track him down. When Yolanda and Courtney are preparing to attack him and steal the hourglass back off him, we see Beth, the new Dr. Midnight, sprinting and shows Rick the real death of his parents on film. With this new realization that the ISA killed his father and his mother, Rick is passionate about getting his revenge and killing those who harmed his family. So he grudgingly joins the new JSA. And that story, ladies and gentlemen, is why this show is so good and why I am covering it episode by episode. It is just awesome. And that is our list. Let me know in the comments if I missed any of your favourite Easter eggs from the 5th episode of Stargirl. Tell me what you thought. Tell me what your favourite part of the episode was in the comments. Stay tuned for more episodes of Easter eggs. I'll be doing one for every single episode. Hopefully they've got enough Easter eggs for one of these lists. Make sure you like and subscribe to get your weekly dose of DC, from top 10 lists to character origins to episodely Easter eggs from Stargirl. Hit the bell so you never miss out on one of our videos. Make sure to check out my latest videos, which will be in the end card. Subscribe to Glider Guy and Icy Seal 25, which will be in the top right of your screen right now. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.